Morning, Governor.
Morning.
What you have?
Do you not do 99s?
Haven't been invented yet.
Plain chocolate, strawberry, brown bread, parmesan, burnt. These are all rancid, mate.
Look, take it or leave it. There's a queue forming.
I'll just have brown bread.
Good choice. Yeah. Believe it or not, brown bread was one of the most popular flavours of ice cream in the 18th, well into the 19th century in the UK and Ireland. He's gonna love it. Why don't you go find out a bit more about ice cream while I go serve these customers? Next! Ask someone over the age of 60 and they might have fond memories of brown bread ice cream, although the other two recipes we're making today go a little bit further back to the 1700s and the Georgian period and the opening of the very first ice cream parlour in Britain. Like most things, the rich got to the luxury of ice cream far, far before the general public could. King Charles II had an ice cream feast at Windsor Castle in 1671, but even he was a latecomer by continental European standards. Italy and France's nobility had ice creams at least over 100 years before that, and the first ice cream parlours followed the same story. Like much of British cuisine from the 1600s onwards, including up to today, France was a primary influence, and so too was France to the rest of Europe. What we think of today as Italy's infallible reputation for food wasn't always shared by those before us. The quintessential Victorian chef, Mrs. Isabella Beeton, wrote, "The Italians, with the exception of macaroni, have no specially characteristic article of food." And while it was France that set the culinary agenda of the Renaissance, it was underpinned, in ice cream's case, by the Italians. The first ice cream parlour in the world did open in Paris in 1686, but it was owned by the Italian Procopio Guto. I hope I'm saying that right. This mirrors the story in London, where Italian Domenico Negri, almost 100 years later in 1757, opens in London Pot and Pineapple, which brought the sweets and creams of the continent to the British nobility. He opened Pot and Pineapple in Berkeley Square, Mayfair, one of London's most prestigious areas. It's now occupied by a Pret-a-Manger. How's that for French influence? Pot and Pineapple became hugely popular, and it boosted the career of not just Domenico Negri, but also his apprentices. This brings us to our featured cookery writer today, Frederick Nutt, who wrote The Complete Confectioner in 1789. Not an everyday cookbook, his recipes were extravagant and quite different. With that said, let's make his ice creams. And first up, Parmesan Ice Cream. Okay, so we're making 3 ice creams here today, and they're all from 1789. We've got 30 grams of Parmesan here, already grated. We've got 3 eggs and we've got half a pint of cream. Let's go to the hob. We've got some sugar syrup cooking here with a ratio of 1:1 of water to sugar. And in this pan here, we're going to start cooking our cream. Out into the pan. Pour in 140 milliliters of sugar syrup and crack over 2 eggs. Just hiding in there. Let's whisk those eggs in there. Here we go.
Yeah.
It's turning up now. Oh. Oh. I make it no secret that I don't like Parmesan. Now strain out the liquid. Oh Lord. Oh well, you know what? That looks like ice cream, doesn't it? Yeah. Look at the liquid coming out of that. Okay, so we put the ingredients, that Parmesan ice cream, through a sieve, which means we've got something that looks like it could be a good ice cream, and I say that with hesitancy. Now we let that to cool, and now we're going to burn some ice cream. Alright, burnt ice cream. Now it's sort of the same as Parmesan. We've got half a pint of cream on the pan over there. We've got the rest of the sugar syrup that we used a little earlier. We're going to use 3 eggs, and the only difference is we're also adding powdered sugar. Let's go. This time we don't want to let it bubble and get thick, because we're not putting it through a sieve. Add 140 ml of sugar syrup. And crack over 2 eggs. Keep the heat low. Let's whisk those eggs in. Okay, now in this pan, over here, we're going to start burning some sugar. This is what is called a dry caramel. It is just the sugar in the pan. Right, and you want to push across at the edges, because this is going to be the first part to cook. Now you need to cook it on the pan until what the cookbook calls a fine brown. Once a lovely uniform caramel, pour it into the cream and mix it in well. Add to a Tupperware and freeze. And finally, let's make brown bread ice cream. So this one is much easier. You don't have to cook it like the other ice creams, so it's just a whip and freeze. We've got a pint of cream here, that's double cream. It's about 568 milliliters. Now I'm gonna start whipping this up. Now originally they would have been doing this in a bucket of ice, as they wouldn't have put it in a freezer. You know, when it was written in 1789, the cookbook, they didn't have any freezers, they had the bucket. They'd have this in the little hand crank bucket. I've got powdered sugar here, and it says in the recipe that you need enough powdered sugar that will lay on half a crown. Half a crown is a unit of imperial measurement in money, you know, before decimalization, so it's about 3 centimeters in diameter, which really isn't that much sugar for a pint of cream. Well, basically it leaves you down to interpretation, but that's what all cookbooks were like. So I've got about 30 grams of powdered sugar in there. That's what we're going to do here today, and I'm going to mix that in as we whisk. And the cookbook says that you need to rasp 2 handfuls of brown bread. Ugh. Why is this in an ice cream? Oh. Oh.
That was bad already.
It doesn't smell bad, it's just the idea of it. Now. Good lord. That's it. Cream, sugar, brown bread. Oh!
Jesus.
Oh!
Why'd you put your hand in it?
That's that. Let's put the lid on it. And now all 3 of the ice creams are in the freezer. We just have to wait. So we've waited overnight and we've got our ice creams that are hopefully frozen in there. Let's take a look. There is Parmesan. Ugh, that's the one I'm least looking forward to. I can't even describe how disgusting that smells. That looks good. It looks like caramel, and it basically is caramel. No. That Parmesan's gonna be revolting. I still smell it from over here. Let's dish these babies up. Got my ice cream scoop, of course. Parmesan. Okay, that's... You know what? The Parmesan's better on the table. Burnt. Now this stuff looks good. But actually, it looks kind of good. I have to say, broken up. Let's go in for the brown bread. And it looks like it could be in a part of a sundae. I think that looks quite nice if I was to be served that. Hey, that's alright. Hey, you've got the texture of the brown bread, but at the same time, it doesn't taste like brown bread. What it actually does is give a sort of richness to the cream. In future, I would probably grate the bread finer. Chunks of brown bread are not what you want to bite into. Right, let's try the burnt ice cream. I'm really excited for this. This is the one that I said I was most looking forward to. And it looks, I would say, the most like an ice cream that you'd find in a shop today. That's really good. Oh my god. If you take bits, the charred bits of the burnt sugar, you've got sort of like caramel streaks that run through it. That is absolutely delicious.
That's basically what it was, right, when you were making it, it was caramel.
It was, that's basically a caramel ice cream. It is really good. And now to taste the dreaded Parmesan ice cream. Okay, shut up. Just try it. It's basically melted already. It's melted very quickly. It stinks. It stinks! Oh. Mm. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Parmesan / puppy. Absolutely disgusting. Well, you can see it. This is very creamy, and the brown bread is still not melted at all. It's holding its consistency, but this has come together, and it's basically a Parmesan / puppy. The best by far, and my Georgian ice cream of the day, is burnt. If you want to try out this historic recipe and make it for yourself, visit reciperewind.com where you can find the how-to for every Recipe Rewind dish. To stay updated and for more exclusive content, follow us on our Instagram, Twitter and Facebook at Recipe Rewind.